Put the gun down, friend.
Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here, and for our last superhero movie, as you can tell, we're going to be dealing with some magic. One of the great all-time, well, not really great all-time, but a not bad flick about No, not that one. It's That's a little closer, but if you just let me say it's Dr. Moore.
Both. And when the time comes, I'll meet the death's head and beat it back.
That spirit is why I chose you for this mission, Mordrid.
That magical doctor, Dr. Mordrid. Ever heard of him? It's not surprising. It was made by Charles Band, who made some of the best and some of the most head-scratching of low-budget films. I think only Fred Olen Ray could top him in that regard. Anyway, originally, Band and his New Moon company was got the rights to Doctor Strange from Marvel. This was back when they were trying to get some quick cash, so they were licensing out all their popular characters. Which is why back when Marvel started making their own movies, they started with Iron Man and Thor, because Fantastic Four and the X-Men and Spider-Man had all been licensed to other entities. And they started working on a script. But the pre-production took a little bit too long and they lost the rights. But Charles Band is not one to throw away such a valuable property as that. So, the script went into a bit of a rewrite, and some nudity was added to give it a more full moon vibe. And we have Dr. Mordrid, who is played by Jeffery Combs. Everyone's favorite reanimation scientist, Dr. Herbert West in the Reanimator series, as well as playing very popular characters in 2 Star Trek shows. He was the Wayloon clone in Deep Space Nine, and was also the nastiest Andorian you'll ever meet in Enterprise. Sadly, he was a very minor villain in the show Gotham, which after a couple episodes he was gone. Really sad. Anyway, we open with a very strange robbery in Rio de Janeiro.
Release this blood of the earth. May it find its place with the philosopher's stone. You are no longer needed.
Next, it's off to New York City, where we are introduced to Dr. Mordrid in his sanctum, which is just basically an apartment, a tenement building that he secretly owns. And he has many monitors in which he watches all the news all the time, watching for the signs. And the theft of platinum piques his interest.
This could be coincidence, Edgar. Or the first sign.
First sign. Probably learn more about that later. And who the big blonde guy is. A little earlier, we were introduced to some of Mordred's neighbors, one of which is Samantha, who is a doctor who specializes in the occult. And she is a consultant for the police department when they have weird killers with occult leanings, and she helps them out. Intrigued after having met Dr. Mordrid, she goes to attend one of his lectures.
A killer who claimed that his actions were dictated by the signs of the zodiac terrorized that city for months. Now, of course, such a defense wouldn't hold up in court, but there is medical precedent for such a claim.
That must be an absolutely fascinating lecture. After the lecture, he returns to his apartment, sanctum sanctorium, and learns of an industrial diamond theft. The second sign. Well, putting on a cloak and amulet, he contacts the Monitor.
That the Death's Head has escaped.
This is so.
But how?
You must cross over.
You know my ability is limited, Monitor.
You must. And learn for yourself. Is it not part of your duty?
Well, that wasn't much help, was it? So, returning to his present corporal form, he next opens a portal and goes to the intergalactic outer space dimension prison, where he had imprisoned the Death Head, aka Cabal, who is that big muscular blonde guy we saw earlier.
Moving, you're dead. Breathing, you'll be ripped to pieces.
Gunner! It's me! Mordrid!
Gunner is the jailkeeper and an old friend of Mordred's. Turns out, Cabal had escaped, and Gunner prevented him from freeing his minions as well. And in revenge, he ripped out Gunner's eyes before leaving for Earth. Now, Gunner gives Mordrid some advice, because Cabal is not to be underestimated, because, he's a
Powerful alchemist.
I'm powerful too.
Wow! Kudos to you, Mordrid. It's always good to have a wizard friend. Time passes much quicker on Earth than it does at the prison. So it's been about a week that Mordred's been gone when he comes back, and the portal produces a lot of heat. Samantha had been going over to talk to him and had felt this massive amount of heat coming from his door. There must be a fire in there. So she pulls the fire alarm, which gives us a pretty amusing moment.
Stand back. Everybody stand back.
What's all this?
Well, this young lady called in an alarm.
There's no fire.
After that amusing bit, Mordrid, in repayment for her being concerned about him, invites her in for coffee, where she also learns he's the landlord, because he also happens to have all the rent checks on a pile on his desk. And he tells her a bit about his mission to hunt down Cabal, making it seem like a master criminal he's been investigating. Not someone he's been waiting for like 100 years or so. And also introduces her to his raven, Edgar Allan. Cute. And she makes an interesting discovery that is going to cause problems later on.
Druid?
What?
This pendant, it's great.
No. That's not Druid.
He explains it's something he made himself and is of a personal nature. Meanwhile, two punk rock metalheads or something have come under the thrall of Cabal, and they've set up his sanctum sanctorum for it.
A house of worship in ruins. Very appropriate, Adrian.
Hey, we were cast out of heaven, right?
That we were.
Now we have the first order of business for him, in which he will seduce the young lady there. Two reasons for this. One, for some gratuitous nudity to get an R rating and to help it in the videotape market. And two, he needs blood for the spell that he's going to cast that will free the minions and bring hell on Earth. When her desiccated body is found, the ring left a very distinct mark on her forehead. The police show this to Samantha, and she realizes it's very similar to the one on the amulet Dr. Mordrid had. So she refers the police to see him, as he is even a bigger expert on stuff than she is. Meanwhile, Mordrid is preparing for his upcoming battle with Cabal when he gets a visitor.
The crystals of Endor. It will take more than that.
I have more.
Seems that was just an astral projection. Can't be harmed, really. But then we go through the usual, why don't you join me? No. Then suffer the same fate. You know, all that stuff. And then he leaves, at which point the police arrive to consult. And this leads to a rather, let's just say, unfortunate circumstance.
I need that.
You don't need nothing. Get him out of here.
I'm sorry, Anton. Are you crazy?
No, but you must be hanging around with a nut like that.
Anton Mordrid is a respected researcher of the black arts. Now, I sent you to him so he could help you solve this case, damn it!
Yeah, which he did. As soon as I saw this. You see, this matches the burn marks on the dead girl's face.
Yeah, told you that medallion would be causing a problem. The police can really get nothing out of Mordrid. He just keeps talking about an alchemist doing all this. So they have Samantha go in and talk to him, and he tells her a story about his past.
Competed in everything. Sometimes one would win, sometimes the other. And the source of their power was in the amulet that each wore about his neck. But while one focused on assuming his place as a great sorcerer and command the worlds of light with understanding and beneficence, Cabal, the other student, the ambitious one, found a home with the children of Belial. But evil has great arrogance, and Cabal let down his guard for just a moment and was taken prisoner.
Cabal vowed his revenge. So the Sorcerer of Light traveled to Earth to stand guard, protect mankind should...
That's a pretty cool story. Sounds a bit familiar, though. Oh, that's right. Like I said earlier, the original script was for Doctor Strange. Anyway, after that is over, Mordrid explains to Samantha that he needs his amulet. If you push it on the side, it'll cause anyone in the vicinity who sees it to become paralyzed, suspended animation for about 30 or 40 seconds or so. They can escape that way. Well, meanwhile, Cabal has taken his other assistant, the one he didn't sacrifice, and he casts a spell on him that makes him invulnerable. Then the guy goes and gets himself arrested so he can take care of Mordrid, while Cabal goes to the museum to cast his spell using the Philosopher's Stone.
You played right into our hands. Oh, the Master will let loose the demons that will rip your hearts out.
What is this, Night of the Living Wackos?
Cabal rules, baby!
Shut up!
He doesn't seem to be the best of assistants here. Oh well. Good demonic help is hard to find. Well, time being of the essence, Samantha gets the amulet and zaps the CSI guy and then goes to free Mordrid.
Sam, I'm sorry, but I had to book him on at least suspicion. Hope you understand.
Sure, Tony, you were just doing your job.
Now, Sam!
Well, that was kind of easy. They get away and head to Central Park, where Mordrid is going to astral project himself to the museum where Cabal knows that the Philosopher's Stone is, and he needs Samantha to stay there to protect his body. That's the only vulnerability he has right now. The minion of Cabal finds out they escaped and escapes himself, being bulletproof now, and heads off in pursuit. I think Cabal does something rather, a little sadistic. But, you know, he's so close to winning, why not?
Sorry, Adrian. Now you're like every other human being.
Well, that was rather mean-spirited of him. He goes into the museum, and just as it's about to close, you know, the usual time, and prepares to make his spell when we get a reverse of a scene that happened earlier. Seems two can play that game. Well, I say well a lot. Cabal, needing time to get his spell, decides to utilize his magical power of stop-motion animation. But Mordrid's not to be outdone in that area. And then we get a sadly very truncated dinosaur fight. But it's not enough. The spell is completed, and the denizens of Biao are about to be freed.
At least I'm gonna go out fighting!
Good old Gunner. Always depend on him. Mordrid is left with a rather distasteful way to end all this calamity, chaos, and any other CH words you want to use. Wow. That was pretty nasty. But was Mordrid in time?
Well, I'll be damned. I did it.
Sure, Gunner. Why not? But at least the Earth is saved. Mordrid, maybe not.
Lady, I'm on a mission from the Master, and this man's gotta die.
You don't want to do this.
Yeah, I do.
Pretty succinct. Can anything save Mordrid?
No!
Sam, cover your eyes.
That was a close one. Well, looks like everything is gonna be a-okay now.
Mordrid, hear my voice. You've done well, Mordrid, but you must cross over now.
Why?
You have revealed too much to the mortals. Your capture will jeopardize all future missions.
Man, these outer space oracles always crushing romance. Well, Mordrid understands, and he prepares to leave. Gives Sam carte blanche with the building to take care of Edgar and his stuff and to make sure all the residents are okay. And then he disappears, just in time for the police to arrive.
Son of a bitch just tried to kill me.
Oh, look, dude, the Master protects me from your puny weapons. You ain't got shit!
Put it down! Put it down!
Jesus Christ! It hurts!
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Call him an ambulance.
Aw, I was going to say that. Well, he's taken into custody. For some reason, known only to the scriptwriters, he is not then blamed for the murders they thought Mordrid had done, which would have solved everything, and the monitor probably wouldn't have had to pull him out. But anyways, she says Mordrid left her there and ran off on his own. She just looked around and he was gone. And then this guy showed up to try to kill her. Well, it's pretty flimsy, but no one can really refute it. And so he just asks her to come in the morning to make a proper statement. And then we cut to Christmas, where Samantha has been well taken care of Edgar and the Citadel, Sanctum Sanctorum.
You'll have your bird seeds, I'll have some eggnog, and we'll watch It's a Wonderful Life for the 100th time. Guess it could be worse.
It could be better.
They're not setting up the crumbs for a sequel, are they?
Well, you're here to stay for a while. You're gonna vanish on me again.
Well, wherever they send me, I'll need some help. Somebody I can trust.
I'll do my best.
But first, there's a bit of personal business to take care of.
We have to have a little eggnog. And watch our movie.
Now, there's a man with priorities. Movies always come first. As a straight-to-video movie, it's not bad. It's very cheap. Although I do like the animated effects for the magic. And Jeffrey Combs gives a pretty good performance. I like his character progression through the film, where in the beginning he's kind of reserved, intellectual, not very emotional. And then as it progresses, he starts to let down a lot of his defenses with the leading lady. And they have a good chemistry together. And I like at the end, there's implication that they will have a romance and go on missions together. You can see the parallels between this and Doctor Strange with, the leading lady, the villain, it's all there. And the Monitor, who's obviously the ancient one from Doctor Strange, and so on. As for the leading lady, that was Yvette Nepar. I think that's the correct pronunciation. Familiar face on TV. She did a lot of one-offs like CSI and NCIS, and had started out in soap operas like Days of Our Lives. But I think probably her most well-known, or at least biggest role had been as a police officer who worked with RoboCop in the short-lived syndicated series. And for our villain, we have Brian Thompson. Again, another familiar face from TV and films. He usually played henchmen, CIA agents, a background character. His biggest part was probably as the villain in Sylvester Stallone's Cobra. And he gives a pretty good performance. A little cartoony, but then again, he is playing sort of a comic bookish villain. The only downside I have with it is the bizarre addition of an echo on his voice to make him otherworldly, I guess. But it's annoying and distracting and doesn't make him any more menacing. His size and acting does that. Yvette Nepar, she has a pretty good job. I can buy that she's like an intellectual, though not a Temperance Brennan type, more humanish and that, but also not quite so brainy. But she's a scholar. I'll buy it. And she even gets to get in a scuffle, and so she gets to have a little action, and she gets some in on some of the intrigue, using her wits and sex appeal to get the amulet back from the CSI guy. Tip of the hat to her. Most of the other cast they're all familiar faces from other Full Moon films or TV, and that's about it. It's a fun little romp, but very low budget. Although the effects are miles ahead of the unreleased Fantastic Four movie that got made in the 90s. Although I, as a lot of other people, were able to see it online due to some bootlegs that got sneaked out. But if you've ever seen that one, wow. That is low budget. Although the cast gives their all. Anyways, pretty fun little film. As a Doctor Strange knockoff, it's not too bad. I would have liked to have seen other films from this character. Jeffrey Combs, always could use more Jeffrey Combs. But as it is, as a one-off, not too shabby. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay after the credits for my favorite scene. And next week, we're going to be starting in on Monsters from the Deep.
you have no power over me in this state?
No, but I can cast a spell.